Welcome to Central News, I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, the Community Energy Network is conducting a survey as part of their Warmer Winters campaign. The campaign's purpose is to raise awareness of fuel poverty in New Zealand within households most affected and asking those people to join the network in saying fuel poverty is not acceptable in New Zealand. Joe Wills, the Executive Officer of Community Energy Network, says they want to present a compelling case to government for regulatory change to housing standards in New Zealand by introducing minimum energy performance standards for all our houses.
It's pretty horrifying, so warmerwinters.org.nz includes the survey. So as many people as we can get to do that survey, the more information, the more compelling information we can get to put forward our case for minimum energy performance standards.
The New Zealand Transport Agency has awarded Downer Construction the $5.1 million project to improve safety along State Highway 2 at Athenry. Bay of Plenty State Highways Manager Brett Glidden says the work involves realigning the bends of the road near the Athenry Gorge, which has a high accident crash rate. He says work will get underway shortly, but will be off the state highway. Work will initially focus on moving existing drainage and telecommunication services along a disused railway track that sits adjacent to the road. The Western Bay of Plenty District Council is asking for feedback on proposed changes to the speed limits on the district's roads as a review of the limits continues. Speed limits on state highways are the responsibility of New Zealand Transport Agency and are not included in the review. Council manages speed limits under its speed limit bylaw, which was reviewed in total last year, and the current proposed changes include those proposed in the bylaw review. A Western Bay Plenty spokesperson says while some residents demand speed limits are changed because of specific issues on their particular road or street, such as safety, concerns for children and animals, noise or dangerous driving, Council must take a far wider overview. The program that protects and restores the Rotorua Te Arawa Lakes has a fresh look, a revised name and a brand new website. The Rotorua Te Arawa Lakes program, previously called the Rotorua Lakes Protection and Restoration Action Program, is a partnership of Bay of Plenty Regional Council, Rotorua District Council and Te Arawa Lakes Trust. Working together, the three organisations have been tasked with meeting communities' expectations for water quality in 12 Rotorua lakes. The new website, rotorualakes.co.nz, provides all the information about Rotorua's iconic lakes. It also includes everything from facts about each lake to what actions are being taken for each lake for water quality and achievements made to date. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Tuesday will be fine with light winds. Your expected high is 28 and an overnight low of 11. Tauranga, your Tuesday will be fine with sea breezes. Your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 14. Just ahead, Tri-Worlds. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. After training for just 5 months, a Waikato student has already made it to representing New Zealand at the upcoming Tri-Worlds. One athlete to keep an eye on, George Gwynn, fills us in on the journey.
Hey George, tell me, how long have you been training?
I started training in about October last year when me and my flatmate entered our first triathlon, which was the Panasonic People's Tri in Maraetai in Auckland.
So how many races have you been involved in so far and what are your achievements so far?
Probably done about 6 triathlons now and recently competed in the National Sprint Tri and got second for my age group. But this weekend I've got the Olympic or standard distance triathlon nationals, which hopefully I'll do well in as well.
So what motivated you to pursue this sport?
I started mountain biking last year, and through Cycle Time's wind trainer sessions I met Megan from the Hamilton Mafia Tri Club, and through that she encouraged me to come along and try out on their club night race things every week, and from then I just got hooked and started racing.
So you've obviously been doing really, really well in such a short amount of time. So tell us about the big race that you're training for overseas.
I'm going to the World Triathlon age groups in London in September, racing in the sprint tri for the 20 to 24-year-olds for New Zealand. It's on the Friday the 13th of September, which hopefully isn't too unlucky. So that's a 750 metre swim, 20k bike ride and a 5k run around London. So it's pretty much the same course that they used on the Olympics last year, which is quite cool. So it should be good. Now
you're heading over from our winter to their summer. So will this involve a bit of extra training?
I haven't actually thought about that, but it's only like a UK summer, so maybe it's not even that hot really. So it might be just the same. Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your training process?
I train most days, 2 times a day, some days. It's sort of 10 hours a week plus, just running, riding and swimming.
Nice. Okay, so for the big race, how much money do you need to raise before heading over? And how much money do you need to raise before you head over?
It's going to cost at least $8,000 for accommodation, flights, your race gear and all that sort of stuff.
And do you have any help with raising these funds?
Because you're amateur athletes, the New Zealand Tri you're all self-funded, so you have to find all that money yourself.
Okay, so tell me, if you're looking for a sponsor then, if so, how can perhaps our viewers get in contact if there's someone interested in sponsoring you? So are you looking for a sponsor, and if so, how can they get in contact with you?
I'd be really appreciative if someone out there would like to sponsor me. It would be a huge help for the race, so if they would get in contact with me, my email address is georgegwynn@live.com.
So can you tell me some of the challenges that you've faced through the training process?
With sort of swimming is my biggest weakness in all of the three, and so it's quite a technique-based thing, and so I haven't really come from a background of swimming at all, and so most people are a lot better at swimming than me, and so I really need to put a lot of work into that, and yeah.
And what do you enjoy most about competing?
It's the sense of achievement as I cross the line, and that all my hard work that I've put in leading up to the event's been worthwhile.
And how do you feel after?
I'm hungry and just go and relax somewhere and eat.
Now you're just a newbie in this. You've just started training since October. So tell me, if someone else is hoping to get a bit of motivation and get into the sport, what tips would you give them?
Just get involved, meet some people that do it, because they're all pretty helpful and friendly, and they'll do their best to get you into it, get you hooked.
We are hoping to catch up with George again after the race to hear of his progress. Just ahead, we meet another local author. Welcome back. As part of our New Zealand Book Month, we are chatting with some local authors about their works and their journeys as an author. Tonight we chatted with Susan Tarr from Paeroa. Susan, tell us about your new novel, Seacliff, A Regular Boy Within.
Seacliff is, the book is being published by Ocean Books in Tauranga, and it's about New Zealand mental health, Seacliff in particular, from 1926 to 1954. It's told through the eyes of a little boy who is age 6, his name's Malcolm, and Malcolm's mum died when he was just little, and his dad just didn't love him enough. And so Dad abandoned him at the Seacliff railway station, and so Malcolm was absorbed into the mental health system as one of the lost children, those children of the time that were lost or abandoned by their family. So he grew up in the mental hospital, copying the mannerisms of all the other children around him, and he lost his own identity. But he knew that he was different from the other children, and so he actually triumphed.
So it is a nice happy ending? Or?
It's a beautiful ending.
Oh,
yes.
that's good. Because you were actually raised near Seacliff Psychiatric Hospital in Dunedin, isn't it?
No, in Seacliff Village, in the community itself.
Oh, okay.
So there's a village at Seacliff, or the old site of Seacliff, where most of the staff lived. And the little primary school was up the hill halfway between the hospital and our place. So children from the hospital used to come to our school as well.
So do a lot of your own experiences from living there kind of come into the novel?
We went to a primary school at Seacliff, and a lot of the children from the hospital also came down to the same primary school. So we learned to accept anything that was different. It wasn't a problem for us. As we grew up, once we turned 15, most of the children from the village would work at the hospital. We would have school holiday jobs in the occupational therapy or in the kitchen, sometimes in the wards or the sewing room. So we gleaned stories. There were just, the whole village was always functioning around the hospital, so we picked up a lot of different stories, and to separate the truths from the half-truths would be a really difficult task. And so I've written the whole story from the perspective of this little boy who was 6 years old.
Sounds very interesting. But that, I mean, that's not your first novel. Your previous novel was Miranda Bay.
That's
so
right.
Tell us about that.
Miranda Bay is set in the Bay of Islands up north. That's where I was working, running a resort. And it deals with sexual assault in the workplace and emotional blackmail, things like that. So the story is written as fiction, based on my daughter's character, because she's your average party-going young Auckland woman. And so Miranda buys an old sanatorium with her inheritance money, sight unseen, simply because it's called Miranda and that's her name. So she arrives on the scene and has to make this dreadful mess into something exotic so that she can, you know, make some money. And she's constantly on the brink of bankruptcy, but with the old Kiwi ingenuity, she fights forward and she does triumph in the end, yes.
So a lot of your books kind of about hard times and triumphing.
Yes.
Through the end.
Yes.
Because one review said about Miranda Bay, I think this is such an amazing review, characters so brilliantly well developed it feels they could step right off the page at any moment. I think, oh, that must be so good to hear. So what is your secret to developing such a real character? I
love people and I study people. I watch, and if they have quirky mannerisms, I'll jot them down somewhere. Like we can be sitting in a coffee bar and I'm eavesdropping on a table one or two over, and I think, yeah, you know, Miranda, she would do that, or Miranda would like that, or say that. So I will jot little notes on a napkin on my hand, on the back of a cheque, just anything. And at home I have an old suitcase and I put all these jottings into that. And then when I'm forming my characters, I can draw from them, and it's like, yeah, these are real people. And I love my characters. And I think that's one of the important things. If you love your characters and you have a passion for the subject matter, then there's no holding back there.
And you say you draw a lot of your inspiration also from, you were travelling the globe and the diaries that you actually wrote then. Did something interesting happen particularly when you were travelling? I'm
impulsive, as most of my young female characters are. I set sail in a 28-foot yacht without knowing if I could sail or not. I'd never been on a yacht. And I didn't know if I would get seasick. I didn't think about it. And I couldn't swim. So, you know, within a very short space of time, I discovered that I couldn't sail and that I did get seasick and I still couldn't swim. So I became an adventurer, or an adventuress, quite unwittingly, and everything just unfolded. I began travelling and experiencing different things and writing diaries so that I could keep track of everything, and letters home to my mum so that she would know that her grandchildren who were born in Africa would, that they were normal kids, that they had normal food and normal clothes. So I was constantly writing to her about, you know, the different things we did.
Susan has kindly gifted us a copy of her book, so head to our website, tvcentral.co.nz, and tell us the name of her book to be in to win. Just ahead, Dame Malvina Major. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The Waikato University has launched a series of lunchtime concerts to enjoy. Amy spoke with Catherine Austin to find out more.
Well, I'm taken over from William Dart, who used to organise them. He did that for about 10 years, and so I'm organising the series, which means that people write to me and suggest that they'd like to play, or I think of, along with the staff, we do it collegially, talk about who we'd like to invite to perform on the series, and I do that and just make sure that we get a really nice balanced program for the year.
So where and when will these concerts be held?
They're held every Wednesday during term time, during semester time, at 1 o'clock at the Gallagher Academy of Performing Arts in the Gallagher Concert Chamber.
And what concerts have you got lined up?
We've got an amazing lot of concerts. It's quite incredible to me that we've got such international performers coming here, as well as our students. And William Dart, when he left 2 years ago, wrote about how it used to be these fantastic outside performers, and then we'd have the students, and now the students are sometimes better than the outside performers, which is very exciting. But we've got, we had Michael Houston, we've got Zhao Ma, who's an incredible countertenor from China, who's apparently got a range from deep bass to high soprano.
Wow.
He sings, and he's being accompanied by a pianist who's worked all over Europe as a conductor and pianist. We've got a classical guitarist coming from Australia. He's New Zealander, John Couch, but he's fabulous. And we've got an amazing pianist, Zhang Zhu, who has won a number of international competitions, and he's coming and playing Ligeti etudes, which are so difficult that almost never no pianist attempts them, and he's going to play them all for us. That's going to be an extraordinary concert. We have Edward King, who is a past student, one of our top graduates. He won the Hillary Medal. He's been studying in Germany, and he's just been a finalist in an international competition in Europe, and he's coming to play on the 20th of March. So we have a flute player who's based in Berlin, coming on the 3rd of April. So really quite a range. Yes, yeah. And the staff also do things.
Now, one of those performers that you've been lucky enough to get is Dame Malvina Major. So can you tell me a bit about your performance this week?
Well, this week the teachers performed. I think it's good for us to perform in front of our students. I think with all the things that we try to teach them, they see it in our performance, and especially for me with the students learning breathing. I think that they have had a great concert, and they've learned a lot, so they tell me.
Yeah. And what is your role within the university?
Well, I'm teaching here as helping out in a way. With the teaching of the voice students, and but I'm employed also by the university as an ambassador with the Right Honourable Jim Bolger. We're sort of ambassadors for the university to promote the university, to promote Waikato University, because lots of people don't know where Waikato is. They know where Hamilton is, but they don't realise that's the province. And so our job is national and internationally. I'm called a senior fellow of music here, because that's my job. I do two things.
Well, these students are very lucky to have you as a singing teacher. And you mentioned that they get a chance to perform as well in these concerts?
Oh, wonderful. I think it's only in performance that you really learn who you are, and you really find out if you've actually learnt the right technique, if you've actually got it right. It's only in performance you stumble or you succeed, really. I think performance is absolutely necessary. We can sit in the studio and teach. We can talk to We're Blue in the face. We can ask them if they understand what we're talking about, especially with technique, with piano technique, violin technique, singing technique. But when they perform, we actually see, and they actually know whether they've got it.
Definitely.
We offer lots of performing opportunities for the students. This is the top of them when they perform here, but they get a chance every fortnight to perform in the museum, Waikato Museum, and they're performing all around the region. They give concerts for the Music Society in Tawamutu, and the audience pays to come. And Thames and Whakatane and Rotorua and Taupo, you know, we make sure, and Cambridge, they have lots of performing opportunities, because that is where they're going to learn. They can do all their study and all their practice, as Dame Avina says, but when they get on stage, they find out how to use their art.
Now, Catherine, who can attend these concerts?
Everyone, you're all welcome. They're open to the public. The students, the music students, have to come. They're required to come, and it's $5 for the public. It's just really a donation. It was previously a gold coin donation, but we're having trouble covering all the costs. Obviously, we need to pay the artists' fees. We had a most amazing concert last Wednesday, the opening concert, with Michael Houston offering to come and play, bless him, to play the Goldberg variations of Bach, and the hall was completely packed. Wow. And then today with Dame Alvina and David Griffiths, James Tennant, our cello lecturer, Lara Hall, violinist, and myself, we were playing as a trio, and I was accompanying Dame Avina and David, and again it was a really huge audience, absolutely fantastic. So people are getting on board with it, and I mean there's been a following for years and years. This series has been going on for I think more than 45 years. Started off by Guyon Wells, originally up at the School of Education, and then he started music going in the university, and it was in the chapel, and now we've got this amazing building. I hope you get to see the amazing building, because it's just the best acoustic and best performance space in the country. And I mean, we've performed everywhere in the country and overseas. We go overseas and we go, oh, we'd love to have our concert chamber here. So it's amazing.
So Dame Malvina Major, I hear that you're very busy. So what other projects do you have lined up?
In the university, in the university we're just progressing into this Conservatorium of Music to make it really a Conservatoire of Music, really. But outside I've got lots of concerts, and I have a Russian concert coming up next week in the Cathedral in Hamilton, and various other things. Yes, so we're busy.
She's
busy. Always off. Every week she seems to be travelling somewhere to do some more performing or organise things for your foundation too.
Yes, for the foundation. I have a foundation which supports young people, and we've got quite a lot of young people overseas, and some of my travelling I go to see them as well, to see how they're doing, or to pick up scholarships, or to pick up people who might help us.
That sounds like a lovely way to spend your lunch hour. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook, let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.